92 to 95 FM, 810 medium wave, and on digital radio. BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Good Morning Scotland. 24 minutes to 9 is the time. The energy giant EDF is expected to give the go-ahead later today for work to begin on the massive £18 billion Hinkley Point nuclear power station. The decision's been a long time coming, with the French company repeatedly putting off making a final commitment to the project because of concerns about escalating costs. Indeed, speaking earlier this year, Dr Paul Dorfman from the Energy Institute at University College London predicted Hinkley Point was dead in the water.
I think everybody's looking for a way out. I mean, really and truly, it's bad business for the UK, it's bad business for EDF. And EDF are France PLC, 85% owned by France. And all the evidence suggests very, very clearly that it is absolutely time to call it a day for Hinkley.
So what's changed? Tom Greatrex is the Chief Executive of the Nuclear Industry Association and joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Gary.
This is a very expensive project for the UK government and for EDF. Why is it going ahead?
Well, it's a big project. It's 7% of UK electricity needs that will be generated from Hinkley when it's generating power. So yes, it is expensive, but it's also a very significant size of project in terms of what it produces for a period of 60, probably longer than 60 years that it will be generating power. We need it because we have, by 2030, 2/3 of our electricity generating supply will no longer be generating power because of the age of power stations, a range of different sources. We need it because we have a UK and international, seem to be international commitments on reducing our carbon emissions at a time when the distinction between energy and electricity is diminishing as people, as cars, people use electric vehicles, as railway lines are electrified, as we move from heating using fossil fuels towards more sustainable methods. All of those things mean that we're going to need a lot of electricity. So as well as renewables, as well as developing technologies in storage and demand management, we will also need some baseload power, and to do that in as low carbon way as possible. Nuclear provides that, and provides that in a way that complements other energy sources.
But we're paying a very, very heavy price for it, aren't we? The UK government promising to pay EDF £92.50 for each megawatt hour of energy it generates. This company's going to do very nicely out of this deal.
And the UK government has agreed with SSE to pay £150 a megawatt hour for the Beatrice wind farm off the shores of Scotland, and £140 a megawatt hour for the biggest offshore wind, which is off the coast of England.
But there's a prospect for those wind turbines ultimately to become cheaper, aren't there? Is there any prospect of Hinkley Point to become cheaper?
No, but they are those figures. The £140 and the £150 are the contracted figures that will be paid, or the level at which the government will make up the difference in the contract for difference. So and over time, there will be differences in price. But what you've got to remember with all this is when people quote prices against the current wholesale price of power, there isn't a way of generating power without it having a cost, and whether that's a financial cost, and when you add in the environmental cost with carbon emissions, it makes sense to have that in as low carbon way as possible. Fossil fuel generated power is lower in price, whilst the wholesale price of gas is low, which it is at the moment. But you go back in the course of the last 5 years, it's fluctuated between the equivalent of about £24 a megawatt hour to £125 a megawatt hour just in the last 5 years. So over the course of the next 60 years, no one I think can safely predict what that wholesale cost will be. And that's even if you just left to one side the issues around climate change and minimising our emissions. So for all of those reasons, we need to have a balanced, secure energy mix for the future, and nuclear is one element of that, and that's what this is about doing to ensure that we have that capacity for the future.
Environmental groups, you will not be surprised to hear, are not impressed with this. They question whether the plant can be built on time and on budget, and Greenpeace say that every time EDF has tried to build a reactor like Hinkley, it has failed.
Well, EDF is currently building one reactor like Hinkley in France, which will be generating power by the end of 2018. But the risk in terms of construction is with the developer. No money gets paid from people's electricity bills until it's generating power. That's the nature of that contract for difference. Payment only happens when power is generated. So that is a risk that EDF have to take on, and that's why obviously they've been considering their position and making a decision today. And that decision to go ahead means then the construction work will start, and they will have to build it. And it's only when they're generating power that they will receive any money for it. And that's the way that system works, to ensure that any risk is on the developer, isn't on the consumer or the taxpayer.
£18 billion project, which might explain why EDF has taken so long to reach a decision. Are you convinced that the green light will be given today?
Well, it's that they're meeting the EDF board a meeting today. I think that it's likely that they will do, because they have confidence in what they're doing. There's been a lot of work going on at Hinkley in preparation. There will be significant contracts signed very quickly after a final investment decision, including with Scottish companies. I know you were talking about Weir Group earlier on this morning. So they're one of the suppliers into this project and into other nuclear power stations around the world. So there are big economic benefits to industry around in the UK and around the world. And I think for all those reasons, I expect they will likely that they will do. But obviously, I can't second guess the decision. I'm not on the EDF board.
Okay, well, we'll know soon enough. Thank you for joining us this morning. Tom Greatrex there, Chief Executive of the Nuclear Industry Association. It's 18 minutes to 9.